Greetings all you metamaniacs, this is Team Money Chi here with my co-host Good Ol' Maurice, and today we're going to show you how to use Bistan to build an incredibly fun and fast traya-killer for arena and territory wars. Traya continues to be the team to beat in Arena, and as players invest in 60 mods and gear 12 pieces regardless of what team you find yourself using, she only becomes more difficult to beat. On top of the difficulty is the fact fighting Traya takes so much time. From Vet Han under Qira to Magmatrooper with Thrawn, Operation Metaverse has released 5 new traya-killing compilations in the past few months, but this 6th one we will show you is by far the fastest. Tankless with high damage, using this team to beat Traya in 1 minute and 30 seconds is dreamy. In fact, it's so powerful, with the right mods you don't even need a character in the 5th slot. This team requires 3 things: 1 set of fast speed mods, a 5-star Chewbacca, and Bistan at a relatively high gear level. In fact, Bistan's the only character that demands speed, so break out those offense arrows and big offensive secondaries for huge damage. The key with this team is to clock your characters so they go one after another, dealing out big damage in a very short period of time. If you don't take out who you need to during that first offensive burst, well, you can try and save yourself with some turn meter manipulation, but you might be going down. Now to Good Ol' Maurice, who's going to take us through the role of each character and their mods.
The first in the turn order is Bistan. You'll want your Nest, Thrawn, or BB-8 type speed set on him to assure he goes first, but we'll get to him in just a few minutes. CLS is our lead, and he will be acting second. Manipulating your speed to ensure he goes second is mandatory, and it's a situational move. If an opposing enemy looks like they may get a turn, you'll want to pop Call to Action and use the Force to try and remove their turn meter. Otherwise, you'll just want to use the Force to remove any taunt or foresight to allow a clean, open shot. Rebels get 15% offense and also a 50% counter chance to beef up the offensive assault underneath his lead, and a Zeta is not required. You will want the Zeta on Binds All Things to boost the turn meter that Han and Chewie receive throughout the battle. Pretty standard modding strategy here: crit damage and crit chance with moderate to high secondary speeds, speed arrow, crit damage triangle, and an offense cross. Focusing on offense, speed, and potency on the secondaries. The name of the game is DPS, DPS, DPS. Han and Chewie are modded in a similar fashion and are our next 2 characters in the team. You'll want crit damage sets with a focus on offense. A lot of offense. When selecting your mods, sort them by offensive secondaries, not speed. A mod with 100 offense and 5 speed is far more valuable to this team comp than an empty mod with 15 speed. Again, DPS, DPS, DPS. You want offense primaries on both of their crosses and crit damage on the triangles. If you can keep your Han and Chewie within 30% of Bistan's speed, offense arrows as well. Bistan leads the match with Frenzy, granting 20% turn meter to everyone. CLS goes next, and his Bind All Things Zeta grants 10% more if both of his debuffs stick. You'll want Han to go immediately after Commander Luke, but no faster than 21% of Bistan's speed. This will assure CLS goes second 100% of the time. When Han takes his turn, use his Deadeye special move for big damage, a Chewie assist, and 100% turn meter to the now frenzied Bistan. Han almost naturally reaches 100% crit chance from passives, and Deadeye grants turn meter based on his crit chance. Han will immediately take another turn, and uses his basic for a double tap and yet another Chewie assist. You can use this to finish off an enemy, or to remove turn meter from an enemy that is above 50% turn meter. Chewie is next and should be clocked slightly slower than Han. To activate Frenzy, you'll need to use a special, so favor Furious Bowcaster over Pulverize, except when you need the Dispel or when you need the heal the Zeta provides. Keeping buffs stripped is vital, but using it grants Chewie 2 buffs, crippling his offense versus Traya leads. A Zeta on Han Solo is mandatory or this team simply will not work. A Zeta on Chewbacca's Loyal Friend unique is recommended to help keep the guarded allies and himself standing in case the opposing team takes a turn, or Han and Chewie melt themselves against the Traya lead. Now it's Bistan time. Han can immobilize a fast Nest, Thrawn, or BB-8, but Bistan needs to be faster than the remaining 4 enemies. Bistan was the original, and until Bosk, the only Frenzy user in the game. His move, simply called Frenzy, gives the buff to himself for 4 turns, and also grants 20% turn meter to the entire team. It's important to note what Frenzy does for this team, and why his health pool should be manipulated to make him weaker than CLS, granting him the guarded ability from Chewie. Frenzy grants 100% turn meter to Bistan every time an ally uses a special ability. Since he's now guarded by Chewbacca, every time Bistan goes, Chewie assists for physical damage plus his 20% max health damage. When timed properly, Bistan will go between 4 and 6 times in a row, calling Chewbacca every time to assist. There isn't a character in the entire game that can withstand that onslaught, and you still have 3 other characters on your team. His basic, Blastum, does minimal damage, but does have a 70% chance to land a damage over time debuff. This is helpful in eliminating Nihilus as dots do percentage-based damage. He has a special move called Gunner Tactics that deals nice damage and removes turn meter equal to Bistan's potency. Speaking of potency, it is very easy to get him to 100% as his unique grants an additional 10% potency per rebel ally and or debuffed enemy. While the burst damage is the selling point of this team, Gunner Tactics, CLS in general, and Han's basic attack all have turn meter removal mechanics. It should be utilized when needed to keep you in the driver's seat. As mentioned earlier, Bistan will need your fastest mod sets. Speed and potency mod sets are ideal, but mix and match the secondary mod set if needed and use your fastest secondaries there. This is a good spot for those undesirable defensive primaries with high secondary speeds, as speed is the only relevant stat for Mr. Bistan. If you have the luxury of being choosy, offense on the triangle mod and offense or potency on the cross, focusing on speed, offense, and potency as secondary stats. Once Frenzy expires, he's done his job and he needs to be squishy to gain the guarded ability from Chewbacca. The 5th spot is more of a utility slot. It can vary based on your individual roster. These videos display R2-D2 as the 5th. With the number crunch Zeta, he will provide additional offense, among other stats, and the 2nd Zeta also provides the cleanse for your team. He has 2 specials to trigger Frenzy with, and can give himself a passive taunt with his stealth mechanics. Just remember that using his stealth move will zap everyone's offense 50% against Traya, so use it wisely. While you learn to use and clock this team properly, feel free to use any of your rebel tanks, Chopper or L3. Stormtrooper Han is especially interesting if he's clocked 5th on your team. It provides more turn meter and potentially having your team take an additional turn before the enemy attacks. But let's be real, this team is so effective, I climbed an arena only using the 4 core characters.
Thank you so much for joining us. This is a really fun team. I've just completely fallen in love with it. It works at a low gear level with Bistan, though not as reliably, so even if you have him at low gear, clock those mods and try it out. We have a few more arena battles for you to watch and invite you to subscribe, like the video, share it with your guild and in your favorite chat rooms, and make sure to give us feedback in the comments below. We love hearing from the community and we take your comments to heart. Most of all, join us in our Discord, which is a hotbed of theory crafting and wonderful community. I'm T Money G, and the other voice you heard was good ol' Maurice, and we are both part of Operation Metaverse. We invite you to share this video with your guild and in your favorite chat rooms. We have a ton of content planned that you will not want to miss, so like and subscribe to get updates when more videos are released.
I got asthma! Change my diaper!
Where's my money?